So we're doing a short and sweet episode today, mostly because we're in Holland, and it's, well, when you see this, it'll be our wedding anniversary.
Well,
Yeah,
3 years.
3 years, 47,000 days.
It feels like it sometimes.
Yeah, so I thought it would be fun to do an episode around Mrs Deductionist, so to speak. So welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, we've got some lights. That was almost as if on cue.
Yeah, like we're in a studio, sort of. And whether the camera picks this up or not, you may or may not be able to hear the sound of sirens in the background. Not as disturbed.
Not the Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah, well, I said disturbed.
Oh.
That's the kind of wavelength we exist on. So how's life as Mrs Deductionist?
I mean, it's been pretty good so far.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it not annoying?
No. I mean, the parts that are annoying hasn't got anything to do with you being a deductionist. Mostly
Thanks.
revolves around wet towels on the bed and not putting your dishes away.
Wow. Could she be any more normal?
But no, I love what you do. I find it fascinating, and I sort of learn by osmosis by listening to you guys and doing what you do. And I remember when we first met, we were doing little drills in bars, weren't we?
Yeah.
With me saying like, who's that guy, or like, where is it? What about this couple? Are they on a first date? Or what do you think? And yeah, it was really fun. It still is.
Well, good.
It still is.
You know, when you've been together as long as we have, the magic can wear off.
Oh no, magic will never wear off for me. That was what sold you to me. Magic. Deck of cards.
Oh,
that was
come
it.
on. But yeah, I think it's fair to say you're a deductionist in your own right, though.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that it was a thing until I met you. Like, I've always felt like I've been quite an observant person and been able to pick up certain things about people and just sort of notice things that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily notice. But I just thought that was just something I was good at. Yeah. I didn't realise it was actually a thing.
Well, yeah.
So it was nice to know that. Well, not nice to know, but like when I met you, when you sort of told me about it, I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool.
I'm not alone.
I'm not alone. But you've also helped me to like expand on what I know, and there's been a few times recently, especially at work, where it's helped me a lot. Like that guy that was drunk.
Let's kind of, because I haven't researched the legalities about what we can say and what we can't about your job. Those who know me will know what you do, and those who are watching this for the first time will not. But let's just say you have a medical job.
Yes. A medical-based job dealing with a various array of different people.
Yeah, that's
in various
the most
states.
Diplomatic way you'll ever hear that put.
And as far as I'm aware, as long as no personal information is shared and we keep it vague, it's okay.
Okay.
But yeah, that.
So you were about to say about that person.
That person who was very aggressive and inebriated and would switch very quickly to being nicey and my best mate to wanting to have a fight.
He's a world-class dickhead.
Yeah, but I recognised it quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would have before that, because I'm too nice and I try and appease situations rather than getting out of there.
I can see you in a difficult place trying to cook for them instead.
Yeah. Can I get you some tea? Shall we get the guitar out and sing some songs?
Yeah. Cook men food, not meth, by the way.
And I wish that, well, we've tried to like expand the business to the ambulance service and other emergency services and all that sort of stuff, and the training that we get is pointless in terms of conflict resolution and stuff like that, because it's all about how to deal with it when it's happening. It's not to recognise it before it happens, which arguably is more important.
That's the frustrating thing. Like, the bad thing has already happened. Why not make sure it didn't happen in the first place?
Yeah, I don't want to have to learn to defend myself. I want to learn to be able to not be in that situation.
Well, yes, I would hate to have to commit murders. You know? Like, I remember when you told me about that guy raging via text. I'm like, where? Let me off the leash. I have a very particular set of skills.
I was literally just about to say that.
Skills.
But I couldn't remember his name.
Liam Neeson.
Thank you. Go on Liam Neeson on him.
I mean, do you get any training? And like, I mean, it's going to sound like whatever the opposite of a lack of objection is. I'm going to sound biased, but do you get like any training in how to put the symptoms together and figure it out, or is it just all habitual lather, rinse, repeat? And you've seen the same thing 800,000 times, so you know what it is, and it kind of takes all of the putting it together out of it. Because I know you're a clever clogs. It's one of the reasons I am as attracted to you as I am.
Do you mean what do you mean in like a medical sense?
Yeah, like a diagnostic sense. I guess.
Yeah.
I'd
like to think that there's a big chunk of it that's a bit of talent and a bit of common sense.
Well, she will never tell anyone, but the amount of people who have been in the job years longer assuming she knows more than they do. Right?
I mean, it's fairly obvious when somebody is big sick, because you kind of walk in and go, oh, okay, maybe we need to go.
They have a hole in their legs. There's a problem.
It's a situation of like, if you feel like you can stay and make a cup of tea, then you're all right. But it does help, like say, having some jigsaw pieces and putting them together, and you do learn the most common stuff. But then you have things that just crop up that you've never seen before or you've never heard of before.
How do you find that kind of stuff out? If you're not allowed to say don't.
I mean, stuff that's quite rare, like Addison's disease and things like that. Or if you've got a little one that's got massive medical history that they've already been born with, the best person to ask is them, or the parents. Like, they know far more about it than I do.
Common sense.
And I'm not afraid to say, I don't know that. What's that? Yeah. Like, can you explain that to me? Because it helps me with my learning, and I'm bound to encounter it again at some point.
It's the fostering of trust in the skill set, isn't it? No one person can know everything.
No.
So why have an ego about it?
Exactly, and people do, though. That's the sad thing. And
believe me, I know.
Yeah. And as soon as you know it all, then you need to find another job, because you're never going to know it all. And if you think you do, then that's when you get complacent and dangerous.
So as I'm working on the House Out of a Holmes book, what are your top 3 tips for making medical deductions? And only because we're losing light.
You have to listen. You've got to listen. If you don't listen, then there's no point, because they'll be waffling on about, oh, this about 5 years ago, blah blah blah. But sometimes even that little life story, you do get little nuggets of things. And then
active listening.
Trust your gut, because most of the time the first thing you think it probably is.
Well, there is a distinctly small branch of research into intuitive capacity, and the kind of the nutshell of it is it's cognition that moves too fast for us to properly be aware of.
Yeah.
So that, listen to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes back to the big sick, little sick. If you can instantly look at somebody, if you can instantly look at somebody and go, "You're poorly," you might not necessarily know why, but you know that you can't.
It's a container to work.
Yeah, you know you can't mess around.
Yeah. That's two.
That's two. Don't be afraid to ask. I know that's not really anything to do with having medical knowledge, but
it's a wonderful virtue, intellectual humility.
Yeah, and I prefer to go along the more holistic route, because you can be book smart and pass all the exams and be a grade A student at the universities, but if you can't talk to people,
honestly,
and if you can't listen to them, you can't just look at somebody and be present in the moment, and would start sounding like a certain lots of hippie people, but you have got to be. You can't just constantly be thinking about other stuff, because at the end of the day, there's people's lives that you're dealing with. So you need to concentrate, and you need to be able to just focus on that one person for that hour or so that you're there. It doesn't matter what else you've got going on.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Mrs Cardall.
Thank you.
And we're almost completely out of line now. I said it would be a quick one, and it was mostly because of the light situation.
That was a very medical heavy.
Well, it's going to be happening more and more with the book.
Yeah.
I had to stop myself from teasing then. With the book, don't say it. So with that in mind, guys, we'll love you and leave you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.